Hello, grade 8s. Let's get into solving linear equations, the two-step linear equations in the form of a multiplied by a variable x plus b equals c, where a, b, and c are all going to be numbers. So let's get into it here. So today we're going to learn how to model these two-step linear equations using pictures and diagrams and how to solve them and show our work. So we still need to know, this is from lesson 1 that we had. We still need to know what an equation is. We still need to know how to isolate the variable, and we're still going to use inverse opposite operations. If you need a review on these terms, check the last lesson. So first thing here, we can see the scale. Now the scale is a visual representation of two equal sides. So it's almost like there's an equal sign here because these are balancing, which means they're equal. The weight on each side is equal. So it's sort of a visual way to represent equation. So we can put our equal sign in the middle. So we can, now it's asking us to write an equation modeled by the diagram. So on this side, we can see on the left-hand side, we can see we have 3 x's. So this is very similar to the last time. 3 x's, but we also have 8 shaded in blocks here. And when the blocks are shaded in, it's a positive number. So 3x plus 8 is what we have on this side. 3x plus 8. And we can put our equal sign equals. And on this side, we have how many? 8, 9, 10, 11, it looks like. 11 on this side. So that is exactly how we create an equation modeled by the diagram. We just count up the blocks and we write it out as so. So 3x plus 8 equals 11. Now to solve this by modeling or by using our scale here, we want to remove some of the shapes. So I'll show you how that gets done. So if we want to isolate the variable, okay? So we want to isolate x by itself. So these we want to isolate by themselves. So we need to remove these. But if we were to just remove these 8 blocks right away, the scale, if you can imagine it in your mind, would just tip down this way, or sorry, tip down on the blue side. The blue side over here would tip down because it would be heavier than this side because we've just removed these blocks. So for example, let's do an example here. So let's say we remove these blocks right here, okay? So these are going to be gone. So let's just sort of make this white here so it looks like they're gone. Okay. Is that going to work? There we go. Okay, so those are gone now. So we removed those 8 blocks. And now what we need to do in order to keep it balanced is we need to do the same thing, but on this side. So let's remove 8 blocks on this side. So we can see this is 8 blocks. And we're going to remove them like so. There we go. And we can see we have 3 left over. And so now we know that x, we have 3 x's over here. 1, 2, 3. And we know that over here we have 3 x's. So we know that in this case, x is going to equal 1 block because we have 3 x's on this side and we have 3 whole numbers over here. X is going to equal 1 block. Because, yeah, I hope we can see that. So basically we got 3x equals 3 if we were to model this equation again. And if we were to do our inverse operations of last time, we divide both sides by 3. These cancel out. X equals 3 over 3, which is the same as 1. So x equals 1 in this case. Okay, so that's how we can use the scale to model the diagram. Let's check out writing this equation out. So this will follow the same thing here. So on this left-hand side, we have 4 x's, right? 4x. And we have 6 white cubes. Now, when they're white and they're not shaded in, that means it's negative. So 4x minus 6. And we put our equal sign, equals. And on this side, we have positive 6. So that's how we would model this equation. Now, I'm going to show you how to solve these equations using opposite operations in a second. So let's just practice modeling one more. So this we have 4x minus 6 equals 6. And here we have, this one looks interesting. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these blocks. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So minus 4z, minus 4z, like that. And we have 1, 2, 3, 9, negative 9, because these are not shaded in. So our equation would look like 7 minus. Okay, so as long as we can figure out how to model our equations using the algebra tiles, we are off to the races. This is a good start. So now I'm going to show you how to use opposite operations in order to actually solve for our variable in these cases. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this one as an example. So 6n plus 6 equals 12. Okay, so what we need to first do is locate our variable. So we can see our variable is right here. It's n. Okay, now we need to try to isolate this variable. So in order to do this, it's going to require 2 steps. That's why this is called a 2-step equation. So our first step is we are going to look at what is being added. So in this case, we are adding 6. Now the opposite of adding is subtracting. So we need to actually subtract 6. We need to apply opposite operations. Subtract 6 from this side, and just the same as the last time, whatever we do to one side of the equal sign, we must do to the other. So we're going to subtract 6 over here. So let's rewrite our equation now. So I'm going to write 6n plus 6 minus 6 equals 12 minus 6. So what I did was I added, in this case, I subtracted 6 from both sides. So now we can kind of simplify this, because if we're adding 6 and we're subtracting 6, these cancel each other out. So those are gone. See you later. Well, I didn't want to erase them. Let's leave them there for visual purposes. And then we need to subtract 6 from this side. 12 minus 6 is 6. So now we have 6n equals, this side we can simplify to 6. So now our equation is 6n equals 6. So we're almost there. We need to still get n by itself. So let's divide this side by 6 now, same as the last unit, and then we'll divide this side by 6. So these will cross off, and 6 divided by 6 equals 1. So we actually end up with n equals 1 in this case. So that is the answer. So our first step, we locate the variable, we figure out if we're adding or subtracting, we do it to the opposite sides, and then we do our multiplication and division. Let's try another one. Okay, here we go. 9 plus 2p equals 13. Okay, so the first step is we see that we have a 9 here. Now this 9 is positive, right? Because it doesn't have a negative in front of it. So this is a positive 9. And then we're adding 2p, and here we go. So what we're going to need to do is subtract 9 from this side and subtract 9 from this side. And so now we're going to end up with, let's see here. So these are going to cancel each other off. So on this side, we still have 2p. On this side, we have 13 minus 9, which equals 4. Okay, and now we need to do our division. So we're going to divide this side by 2, cancel, and divide this side by 2. And we're going to end up with p equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. P equals 2. Okay, so this is how we solve these equations. So let's do, I'm going to do one more example before we get to the word problems. I want to go back and I want to do an example with some negatives. So let's solve this equation here to make sure that we can know what we're doing. So I'm going to write it over on this side. So 7 minus 4z equals negative 9. Okay? So in this case, on the left-hand side, we have positive 7. So what we need to do is we need to subtract 7 from this side and subtract 7 from this side. So these will cancel out, positive and a negative. Okay, negative 9 minus 7. So negative 9, we're already in the whole negative, and we're going to subtract 7 more off of it. So we're going to get even lower. So we're going to get down to minus 16. Okay, so now our equation is going to look like this, minus 16. Okay, and now we have negative 4z equals negative 16. So we need to do our opposite of multiplication, which is division. So let's do this. Divided by 4, negative 4. Divide by negative 4, because that's a negative 4. And we're going to divide this side by negative 4. So these will cancel off each other. Negative 16 divided by negative 4 equals, it's a negative and a negative, positive 4. Okay, there we go. So z equals positive 4. So hope that is making some sense. Watch it back if you need to, and I'll show you some word problems now.